Galimera, Galispera, Galinichta, no matter where in this wild, wacky, and sometimes wonderful world you might be. Thank you for making the Highbury Squad part of your day. It's a new week, it's a blank canvas. Let's paint pictures, let's tell some stories. Rock and roll.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Hey everyone, welcome to another live edition of the Highbury Squad. It's myself, it's Super Kev in the house, my podcast brother from another mother. Hello!
At ease, squaddies. Good to be back on Monday Madness. At ease.
Super Kev, first things first, some housekeeping. Thanks obviously to our good friends over at Zenith Coins for being our partner again this season. Brilliant stuff. Good evening to all the squaddies in the house. There's 100 of you currently. Most of the Greeks are probably watching Greece versus Netherlands. Keep me posted. I'm going to get us out of here so I can watch the second half. It's a massive game for Greek football, as many of you can imagine. If we beat the Dutch tonight, Kev, we make it back to the Euros.
Wow. Wow. Well, you've got to try and beat them big time tonight. Great opportunity.
It's a massive opportunity. Absolutely massive. So let's say hi to some of the squaddies in the house. Here we go. Let's get some names up. We've got Jeff. We've got our Chief Like Officer, Tammy. Mark's here. Runs with Cows is here. PW, Galispera. Let's root for the Greeks this evening. Suraj is here. We've got Charles, Trev is back. Ian, of course, always here. We've got Cross Jonky, who must be related to Josh. Yassaz, look at that with the Greek. Let's see, who else we got? We got Adam is here. Why am I naughty? What did I do? I'm in trouble already, Kev. Mel, Malaysian Gooner. We got GB. Seb's back. All of you here. Gooner Rose is here. The whole fam down.
Well, hit the like button while you're there. Please, come on.
My big fat finger out the way. Kev, a couple of things as well. If you missed my moment with Arsenal's captain, Martin Odegaard, I urge you to go over to the channel and have a little listen to that little soundbite. It was really a lot of fun just to see him.
Thanks for the mention, Soph.
Super Kev, I'm just saying. Hey, did I have your back or what?
You had my back there, girl. I tell you, thank you. Oh, that was nice. That was a nice touch.
Yeah, I mean, he was just, he's super classy on and off the pitch. And this was him standing in the mix zone. And this was me just before I got to have a quick word with him. And so, yeah, he was obviously didn't end up well for him last night, Super Kev. No. But they still have a chance, I believe, to make it through the playoffs. Now, the other cool thing is, as many of you saw, we launched our new series, Opinionated, created by Super Kev, produced by myself, hosted by Super Kev. Episode 1 went out with lead judges on referees. And let me tell you, Kev, the YouTube comment section is packed.
Well, you know what? That's why we've got to do a show. We have to do a recap show on a lot of these things, because you know what? Dealing with people and their comments is good. Good, bad, and different. You know what I mean? It's good to be able to deal with it.
Yeah. And let me tell you, they've totally got stuck into it and a lot of comments. So Kev and I will be doing a YouTube comment show as promised in the coming days. So look out for that. The good, the bad and the ugly. And let me tell you, I've been ripped to shreds from last Monday's episode. And I'm not even going to mention a certain position today, Kev. I'm not even going to bring it up. I'm gonna just
No need.
just going to zip it.
No need.
Just going to absolutely zip it. And then, so the next opinionated, you're going to love this. This will get everyone's goat as well. Why am my phone's probably the other way today, which is why you can see my fat finger, but we'll try not to highlight that too much. Opinionated episode 2 will be out soon. What do you really think about Mikel Arteta? Hosted by Super Kev with Dan Potts, who likes he doesn't rub people up the wrong way deliberately. His comments just rub people up the wrong way sometimes, Super Kev. So
thing is, he's got his own opinion, Soph, and his opinion sometimes, doesn't go with the majority, which is what the show is.
Exactly.
It's to speak to him and try and see what his opinion is and see if there's any common ground with everybody else. But I could imagine it's going to be something else.
Yes, it certainly is. And look, Kev, we have a very special listener in the house. Tony is listening all the way from sunny California.
Hey, Tony, how you doing, my dear?
Oh, man.
Love you.
Have I missed her and Vinny and Vespa? It's been a long time since I've been home. And so, you know what? Just because of that, Kev, here we go. Let's get the old Vinsta out. Hit that like button, everybody. Smash it. Kiss it. Let's get Vessi out as well with the old save. I said I wasn't going to bring up the position, but it's different when Vespa does it. That's for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
See you soon, Tony. See you soon. Thanks for tuning in. Lots of love from Cyprus and also from Super Kev in the grand old UK. Right, let's get on with this show. Kev, the rumours are swirling. Hey, everyone's getting excited because you know why? It's almost January. And you know what that means? Another transfer window? Crikey. Surely not. But yes, there is another transfer window coming. And Ivan Toney has been hot on the lips of journalists, pundits, fans. Super Kev, I know that you're a huge fan. I know that Tom Canton and Harry Simmy, you may not be as big a fan as you are. I have to say I have my doubts, not necessarily from a footballing perspective, but maybe I need to lay off him a little bit and give him the opportunity to prove himself from a character perspective. Kev, what do you think of the rumours? Do you think they're true? Are we going in for him? And if so, does Ivan Toney make the Arsenal better?
I think the rumours should be true, Soph. If we're honest and we look at our squad, maybe at the top end of the pitch is where we could do with that alternative, as many people have said over the years. We need somebody else. We need this. We need that. We know Kai Havertz could play up there, but somebody of Ivan Toney's stature, power, and the ability, he's got something to prove as well. So that's the other thing which I like. He'll have something to prove. He knows Arsenal. He likes Arsenal. He has great banter with the Arsenal fans, doesn't he? Etc. Probably the one thing he doesn't realise is what it's like to put that cannon on your chest. And that's what we only find out, when you get in the building. That's if he gets in the building. Because we've seen good players come to the Emirates, come to Arsenal, and not be able to do it. I honestly think he will be able to do it because of the way we play and the wide men we've got. We get a lot of possession. He's someone who the defenders have to legislate for. Not saying that he'll play every game, because he doesn't have to play every game. But he is somebody who, opposition have to legislate for him, because he's got that ability, where we can play from back to front and it can stick. That is so important, that it can stick as the centre forward, and we could get up the pitch if we're ever under pressure. Against better teams, he will be really vital. And you know what? I wouldn't be surprised at times if Mikel Arteta threw a wrinkle into our game one time where Ivan Toney and Jesus played together as a front two.
What, like in a 4-4-2, Kev, or playing off each other?
4-4-2. Well, it just depends, because 4-4-2 could be 4-1-1. 4-4-1-1, 3-5-2. It just depends where you are. But getting Jesus closer to Ivan Toney for knockdowns, because Jesus is good at getting onto balls and holding balls and spinning. You start putting them two together, all of a sudden, I'm just saying, it's another wrinkle in our armour that we can use if need be.
Interesting. So, Kev, you don't see him coming in, because we're going to flow on to the second talking point, and maybe they can intertwine, because the second talking point that I wanted to bring up is Gabriel Jesus, who, of course, has a lot of fans, and some fans just kind of don't get still, I think, what he brings to the team. Gary Neville criticised him for his poor play against Manchester City, and I can't remember what other game that he mentioned, which I was shocked at, because I thought Jesus was colossal against Manchester City.
It's not Gary Neville having a go at the Arsenal, an Arsenal player again, is it so?
Has another opinionated show coming up soon, by the way, kids. And is Ivan Toney coming in to replace? You just said they'll play together. Jesus will still be Mikel's number one, right?
I think so. I do. I think we've seen what Jesus can do. And although Jesus hasn't been prolific, Martinelli, Saka, Odegaard, they improved. Xhaka last season, they improved incredibly when he was in the team. So I truly believe it's just a matter of, it depends on who we play, And look, I know talking about a player who's not our player, but the rumours are we're in for him, so we're gonna discuss him. But I think Jesus is one of those players who makes us tick. So he really is. And again, he can play anywhere across that front three. He can play as a two, he can play as the lone striker, he can play left, he can play right. And probably, he left Man City knowing, right, I'm going to be the Arsenal number 9, But you know what, things change sometimes. And we have to do whatever we need to do to win. Because let's have it right. We've got an opportunity to win this league. But we've got to get it right. We've got to get the squad right.
Kev, 11 goals, 7 assists in 26 appearances last season, 1 goal in 27 caps for Brazil. And the reason why I brought up Jesus is because, to dovetail the Gary Neville criticism, he tends to get criticised a lot in Brazil. He's always replacing or being subbed on for Richarlison, who weirdly is crap at club level and very good at international level. It's kind of weird, the juxtaposition with these two. What's your take on people who maybe just don't get the type? I guess a little bit like Kai Havertz, they expect him to be this prolific goal scorer, but with Jesus, I think you do expect him to score more goals. You've been wanting him to score more goals. You feel
we do. I think he could. I think he could score a lot more goals, considering the opportunities he gets. I mean, last season, he could have he could have hit 20 goals, and that's being kind, considering the amount of chances he had. But obviously when the injury came and he was out for, was it 3 months, then he came back and he got himself going. But kind of, it's always difficult near the end, because there's so much to play for, and he lost a little bit of form at the wrong time. And that can happen after you've been injured. We need him to go the whole distance. If he goes the whole distance and he gets hot, Soph, we need him to get hot. We really need him to get hot because we haven't, as an attacking force, we haven't even started the season yet. Let's be honest. We've seen a couple of quality goals from Saka, Martinelli, etc. Jesus has got a couple of quality goals. But as an attacking force, we are showing nowhere near the cohesion like we did last season. But just like anything, you need the options up top. You need to be able to. We know this is going to cause the opposition problem. So you make the adjustment and you play that way. You still can have weapons on the bench, and that's what the strongest teams do. I remember last season seeing Haaland and De Bruyne on the bench. So, Man City don't go all out with their top boys all the time. We've got to be able to be flexible and still win.
Do you think it's a case of this? And by the way, I'm not mentioning the names, but Jimmy Mack here. Things do change. Ask a certain
Rambo. Of course, things change, but Jimmy, as quickly as things change one way, they could change back the other. All it takes is one injury, and then all of a sudden, things have changed back. So the key is got to be ready. Got to be ready.
Kev, I thought Tammy Steele's our chief like officer here. Could Arteta cope with him? And I think it's a good point in the sense that he's a very strong character, and he reminds me a little bit of Balogun. And when I met Balogun, he definitely carries this element of arrogance, and there's an arrogance in a confident way, but then there's an arrogance in a cocky, confident way. And Toney seems to definitely have that cockiness. And of course, a lot of Arsenal fans haven't forgotten the kickabout comment, hence the tongue in cheek a little bit in the title and the description of the show. Does that concern you at all? What's your because you and I talked about DNA, player profile, how Mikel is very intent on his kind of non-negotiables. What's your take on that?
I've got no worries about that. The bottom line is Mikel Arteta will meet, speak, find out about what he likes, what he dislikes. He'll tell him about the dressing room, what is expected of him, etc., etc. And I don't think a lot of people, and fans, we might be Arsenal fans, but a lot of people don't realise the enormity of playing for the Arsenal, let me tell you. He's not playing for anything like this club. And he's going to have to get his head down. If he comes to us, he's going to have to get his head down and work and play. And he's going to have no time for all them shenanigan funny stuff. You're going to have to get down, get grafting and do it on the pitch. That's the key. Being arrogant and confident on the pitch is one thing, Soph. But being a good teammate is more important. It's more important to Mikel Arteta. And Mikel Arteta will get a feeling from him. And if it's not right, Soph, Arsenal won't sign him, and rightly so. If you get that vibe that he's not going to toe the line, then it's not going to happen.
Kev, if he comes in, does that mean someone has to go out?
Possibly, I say. Solely because of FFP or how the money's structured. Obviously, that puts Eddie down the pecking order, doesn't it? It does. But Sophie, if we're serious and we're looking at going for a lot of these trophies, we're going to need a real deep squad. And I mean that, real deep. So people might feel, Eddie has to. Not necessarily. Emil Smith-Rowe, no, not necessarily. We're going to need the deepest squad we've ever had. We want silverware, and we're looking to go deep in a lot of these cup competitions, etc. So, and the league, we're going to need to be as deep as we can, because everybody is going to need minutes.
You're listening to the Highbury Squad with Super Kevin and myself, 300 of you in live chat right now. Hit that like. As you can see, I'm still operating guerrilla style from my mobile phone in the depths of Cyprus, but I will be heading home soon, back in my old school environment with my Arsenal gear behind me, and I am looking forward to that. Okay, Monday Madness top 5 talking points. We've done Ivan Toney, we've done Jesus. Make sure you let us know your thoughts if you're listening on replay, in the comments section, and to all our audio listeners on Spotify, thank you. There's a problem with our Apple. We've been hacked, Kev, on our Apple account. We're all up to date on our episodes on Spotify, but on Apple, they haven't updated since June. And so Apple are looking into that for me. Listen, so good. They just want to steal our content. What can I say? All right. Talking point number 3, Kev. There's rumors, not rumors, but looks like the Arsenal are trying to tie down this fella to a long-term contract too. You and I have long been fans since he arrived at the club. This was Ben when he signed and was announced as an Arsenal player. I think we've all fallen in love with him big time since he's joined the club. Kev, are you happy about this? What's your thoughts on Benjamin White signing for the Gunners?
Happy. Tie down all your good quality young players. Tie them down for long contracts. And these guys are only going to get better together. You know, these guys are only going to get better. And Ben White, do you remember many people questioned him at right back? Really questioned him at right back, but he's gone on from strength to strength, and he's made that right back spot his own. I think because of his versatility, it will be great to see Kieran Timber come back, and at times we could mix and match. We want to, at this time, Soph, where we're going to need to give Saliba a little rest, because what we don't want to happen is what happened at the end of last season, where, you know, maybe a multitude of games kicked in, and you know he's hurt himself. So we're gonna have to box a little bit clever there. But Ben White, he can play centre back. He played centre back early in the season with Saliba. He can play. We know he can play with Gabriel. So his versatility is going to come in massively come the second half of the season, especially. Tie him down.
Kev, would you rest Saliba in all of the domestic cup competitions? Would you play Saliba in the West Ham Carabao Cup match? Would you just keep him for the Premier League and the Champions League?
It all depends, Soph, because you know what? When you're a young player, you want to play every game. And remember I mentioned this about Saka. Saka was going with England and playing and then coming back and playing, and he wants to play every minute. I think the fact that Saliba didn't go with France actually is a good thing. He could have a bit of a rest for a couple of weeks. You know, no games. He could obviously get his kinks in his back worked out and get his legs all right. And I think he had a bit of a toe issue. Could get all of that sorted out, so he's rested, because then there's another batch. Listen, this other international break that's coming up after this one.
The one in November. Buggery.
But so that might prove to be a godsend to us again. I have to look at these things and try and look at it. You know me, I try and look at things as a positive. It might work out to be a positive for us, because what can we do? I'm not saying that Saliba won't be called up in the French side, but he could get called up and probably not play. So it might help us in the longer term that, you know, there's another international break where he doesn't play a lot of football. So we just have to see, because at the end of the day, Saliba's going to want to play. I think we can afford to leave him out in certain games. Of course we can. Of course we can. I don't think he's going to want to, but I think we can.
All right. Ivan Toney, Gabriel Jesus, Benjamin White's deal, and a little bit of the side of Saliba because listen, when is it? It's never boring talking about that fella, is it? Let's be honest. Kev, a lot of chat during the international break looking at the season so far, and it's so weird to think that we've only played 8 games in the league. It feels like, I don't know if it's just been exhausting already. We've played Man United, we've had a North London derby, we beat Manchester City, we've played a cup match, we've played Champions League, but in the league it's only been 8 games. And it does seem weird in terms of how we've started and where we're at right now. You know, even when you look at how Mikel Arteta shaped up the back line in the first couple of games.
Get used to it, Gooners. Do you know what, Sol? It's been a while since we've had this amount of games type, because Champions League, you know, has been massive for us. Yeah, we've won 1 and lost 1. Obviously, got a Champions League game after we come back off international break as well in the midweek. But because we haven't hit the heights, but we've still got results bar the Lens game, it feels as though we've been fighting all the way. We're going to get better, so our team are going to get better, and we're learning. I think Mikel Arteta's learning how to not be so gung ho, but to be able to get the job done with efficiency. I think that's the key. Not play well, but still get the result. Take it. And then when it comes to time where you've got to play well and you've got to beat teams, that's when we want to see us shine. I'm hoping that after the international break, we could get near enough our full team or full squad out there, maybe bar a Jurien Timber. So that's one thing we'll have to see how it works. And I believe it's not too far off either, so Timber.
It's kind of crazy. Yeah, he sends these subliminal messages, Timber, as well. I kind of really enjoy his messages. I mean, clearly the guy seems like a machine, Kev. I mean, that was quite the injury, and to think that he could come back in March, people are saying. And I often wonder, like, when you talk about how we've lost key players at the wrong end of the season, having someone like him come back, of course, the injury is not going to come back and be like gung-ho from the get-go. But to have a player like him maybe be ready, even if it's the last 2 months of the season, to give you that
15 minutes, last 10, 15 minutes, come on and shut the shop up. Huge for us.
Massive. And
check this one out, Soph. If we had Timber at Anfield last season, him coming on for Zinchenko, would we have conceded? That, you know, I think of things like that because he's got. I'm not saying Kieran Tierney's a quality player. I just think Timber's a different breed. He really is, because he can play, because he's so flexible.
But and Kev, we saw his versatility like early on. Even, you know, when I saw him play in the States in pre-season, you could just see it was like this young kid I was watching for Norway. Oh man, having a brain fart. Someone in chat help me. That wonder kid for Norway plays on the left wing. You just see his quality. Kev, he came on for 20 minutes in the second half, and I literally turned around to the Norwegian media and I was like, who is this kid? And why isn't he signed for Arsenal yet? I mean, he was so impressive. And Timber, when he played, every single Arsenal fan, when we're all on the same page and we have the same reaction.
We all knew.
We all knew. Oh, thank you, Amberly. Yes, Nusa. Not Musa. Musa is the guy, the ex-Arsenal player that plays for the United States. Nusa. Is it Anthony Nusa? Kev, I'm telling you, this player, oh my gosh, wow. I was blown away by him. But anyway, I digress just a little bit. So this part of the show is going to talk about grading players. this is why I was getting to 8 games and a couple of cup games and stuff. Do you think at this point of the season is even fair to grade our players? What are your thoughts on, like, they haven't even gotten, we talk about not getting out of third gear. People are grading the players. They're grading the season so far.
Well, let them. Let them grade the players, right? Because at the end of the, we're not even a quarter through the season yet. You know, when you think of that, we're not even a quarter through the season yet. So again, you tend to find the league starts to level out a bit after 10, 12 games. Right? And then you go from there. Mm-hmm. So I would say we need probably another 4 games in the league to try and say, right, okay, let's see where we are right now.
All right. Fair enough. I agree, by the way. I totally agree with that because, you know, sometimes I like to do these things and a lot of the times you're like, no, Soph, we're not doing that. I'm fine. We're on the same page. I don't even want to grade them, Kev. I don't even want to give them A, B, C's, 10s, 5 stars, 2 stars, no stars, to the moon and the stars. Although to the moon and the stars, I think definitely for me, the player of the season so far has been Declan Rice. If you can just answer that one for me, who for you thus far, 400 in live chat, has been Arsenal's player of the season so far? Kev, who's your player been?
I would say Declan Rice, but he's followed up very closely behind by Saliba and Gabriel Magalhaes. And Gabriel didn't start the first, couple games, but he has been a colossus back there. Listen, I know Saliba gets the headlines, but I think without Gabriel, tell you. And we've seen our team with Ben White and Saliba, and we still look good, Soph. But against the best teams, Gabriel has to play. I mean, we needed Gabriel to come on in some of those early games, didn't we? To just get us over the line a little bit. I just think Gabriel is that aggressive centre-half, the fighter. Saliba's the clean-up man. He'll just clean up everything. He's big, physical, but he's the reader. Gabriel's our guy. He's the one who triggers everything. And we really need him.
Kev, do you think Saliba's like an old-school sweeper?
No, not sweeper. Not sweeper, but he is... in any partnership, you've got to stick with one player has to stick to his strengths. And Saliba's strengths is to read the game, track, and pass his way out. And without that, we struggled last season. He looks like he's back at that level where he was last season, so already. Mm-hmm. And after, obviously, his back injury. So that's a really good thing for us. And you know what? To be able to read it and to sweep up around Ben or Gabriel is vital for us. It really is vital for us. Because what does it do? It just calms everybody down. Mm-hmm. I'm watching Arsenal against Manchester City, and I'm not worried. So normally you're petrified. Do you know what I mean? Of Manchester City. I wasn't at all. I wasn't petrified. I weren't even worried, so because those two were playing. Obviously, and Ben and Zinchenko at the time. I wasn't worried at all. So I hope and pray, so we can keep those clean sheets at home going, because I think that's going to be the key for us. We're going to have this title run. We're going to need to keep more clean sheets at home and beat the big boys.
Kev, do you think we'll play? I'm going a bit off subject now, but we don't care. It's the Highbury Squad. Do you think we'll play more like we did against Manchester City? It's really funny because Oliver Wilson in chat mentioned how people just kind of need to get over this notion that Mikel Arteta is an attacking-minded coach. He's more of a defensive-minded coach. And a lot of the times people want to compare him to Arsene Wenger, where, you and I have even talked in the past that he's closer to George Graham, not only maybe in terms of the discipline of play, but the ruthlessness that he possesses as well as a coach. Do you think that we will play more like we did against City? Is that the blueprint for us going forward?
So against the big teams, I mean, you see us against anybody else, and we're so attacking. But against the big teams, that's why sometimes we end up getting beat, because we are not smart how we do it. We are not tougher and more difficult and more edgy in our play. And I think that's something this young side has to learn. This young side has to learn how to get over that line. Now, we've done it against Man City. We got a massive game coming up against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. And I know Chelsea haven't been brilliant, but they're still a good side, and it's on their patch. We've got to go there and win, because that's what City will do. City, if they're playing this way, they'll go there and they'll just nullify the opposition, and then they'll take over the game and win the game. That's what we've got to do. We've got to win this game. It's really important for us. So there is a learning process that we are going through, and I think that's why the Manchester City game was so big for us to win.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like, I know, people can say what they want about us, and we'll address that in an episode of Opinionated, where I'll be on with Super Kev. We don't care. And yes, I agree. That's a brilliant point, Lone Star. Hope all is well down in Texas. And hello, 400 plus. There's 422 actually now, Chief Like Officer Tammy. 150, 149. Listen, Monday Madness. You know what to do. Smash it, kiss it, like it, love it.
Come on.
It. Absolutely do it. And you mentioned Chelsea, and you mentioned kind of, being able to string back-to-back winning games, but against big teams. We beat Manchester United this season. We should have beaten Tottenham, but we didn't. We didn't play well in that game. We didn't really deserve to win that game.
We let them off the hook, Soph.
We did let them off the hook.
We let them off the hook. And do you know what? That was probably down to us being a little bit not too
complacent.
No, I wouldn't say complacent, because this Arsenal side, I don't think complacent. Just being a little bit loose.
Bit arrogant,
Jorginho getting caught there is a bit loose. It's not complacent. We got caught, we got trapped, and they went through and scored. It can happen sometimes. And we had the opportunities to beat them, so we didn't. Fair play. We drew the game, but we should have won that game. Fulham, we should have won that game. We were loose. They went down to 10 men. We were loose. A corner comes in. They score from a corner. That's loose. So we've had 2 loose spots in the league this season. Didn't lose, but we dropped points. Got to stay on job. Got to stay on job. And it's obviously another London derby away. So
it is another London derby, and we're in the Arteta era. I like this. I don't think this is GUNNERBALLZ. This is by someone else, and when I do find who it is, I will credit them. Yeah, I really like this, Kev. Of course, Ray is missing from this now, but in the Arteta era, Kev, are we starting to build as we go into this Chelsea game? Lone Star mentioned it earlier too, about how teams can't bully us anymore. Like, we're not mentally, I think we've still got a ways to go in terms of, closing deals, closing big deals, seeing out last season. Mentally, we were still fragile, but we seem to bounce back. We missed out on the Champions League. We bounced back and we challenged for the Premier League. We miss out on the Premier League. I often wonder, what is this Arsenal team going to evolve into this season, Kev? The Arteta era certainly, and I don't know if I want to call it an era, because he hasn't really won anything big yet, but let's just say the Arteta chapters.
We are in his era. We're in his era. The key now is we've got to add silverware. We've got to add proper silverware. So if you don't get to spend the type of money that he spent to strengthen without, and I know nobody's got a divine right for silverware. Maybe Manchester City could say because they've been doing it so regularly. But when you're Arsenal, you've got to have a team and a squad that can challenge. Because when it comes to the mix-up and the last knockings of these trophies, we want to be involved in it.
Mm.
You know, we want to be in the make or break games. We do. So I just think Mikel Arteta is building something not only for today. He's building it for tomorrow and next week and next year and the year after. Hence why we're tying down players on long-term contracts. So we're making sure any addition that comes in, this is the core group of young men who's going to take us forward, because they've proven, Soph, that they can go toe-to-toe with Man City. Didn't win it, but they proved that they could. Now, what do we add to bridge the gap and potentially beat them? Declan Rice is one of the main components in that, for sure. Mikel Arteta sees something in Kai Havertz that he wants to work on to get us over the line. Many of us haven't fully seen it yet, but we'll see. Timber was a definite another one who you could see. He would make us, if he was fit, he would make us better, Soph. Do you know what I mean? He would make us better. Even if he's not playing, Sophie, he makes us better being on the bench. Because he's somebody who can come on and make a difference coming on that pitch. Hence why our 4 subs against Manchester City came on. All of them combined and we won the game.
That was such a great moment. That was a great moment for the team, and it was also a great moment for Mikel Arteta, because the fact that all 4 of them were part of that goal, and not only I think that goal, Kev, it's just the team we were playing against, to be able to make those changes. It was really incredible. I don't know if I've seen a combined great substitution like work to that type of perfection against
all 4 of them connect. I mean, it's
against a really big team. All right, you guys, top 5 talking points. Let us know what you think. Ivan Toney, Gabriel Jesus, Benjamin White, grading players, and Chelsea v Arsenal. We're going to touch on real quick here. Kev, you mentioned the game. We've got to win it. We've got to go back to back against 2 big sides. Are you going to share your prediction now, or are you going to save it for the kids for later on in the week?
I want to say it now because I do fancy our chances. I think we'll win the game. I think we'll win the game 2-0.
I mean, we've played pretty well at Stamford Bridge over the last few. Martinelli to shine at Stamford Bridge again. He loves a game there, doesn't he, Kev?
He does. He certainly does. And so, I'll be honest, I don't care who scores. The key is we stay winning.
Hey, listen.
Stay winning.
No one's going to complain about the deflected goal against Manchester City. No, I would take that all day long.
All day long, and twice on Sunday, let me tell you.
All right, then last 15 minutes of the show will be dedicated to your questions. So get them in thick and fast, and I'll try and get to every single one of them for you. Suraj wants to know, if getting Toney proves difficult, what is the alternative?
Oof. Alternative, listen, there's probably 2 players who you say can make a real difference in our team. Toney and Osimhen. They're really the 2 who you say they would give us an edge, another edge. But we've got to be realistic. Osimhen will cost a hell of a lot of money. And for the money that you have to spend on Osimhen, you could probably get Toney and Neto for that. And maybe have a little pocket change.
Kev, doesn't Neto's injury stuff worry you a little bit?
No. I'll tell you
Okay.
why, Soph. I'll tell you why. Thing is, he's young enough, but he's not going to have to play every game. Because sometimes that's what happens when he plays so many games. That's when the fatigue kicks in, and just something might happen. And when you play for a real possession-based side like us, he'll get time to rest up on that sideline. He could switch with Saka. 1 minute he's on the bench, next minute he's starting one game. I think he could be the perfect foil for Saka.
There's no doubt he's a super talented player. But yeah. Oh, look, I just put that up and I didn't even realize it was Kyle. Should have kept Balogun.
Hey, listen. Don't you start, son. Don't you start.
He ignored my WhatsApp messages when we beat City, so I ignored his when he said he could do a show last Friday. It just, I just got all like that. You know what I mean, Kev? It just had to happen.
It has to happen. That's right. Ignore him. He's all right. He'll survive.
Here we go. Question from Jimmy Mack for you. What's the difference between Toney and Osimhen, and who do you prefer for Arsenal?
Listen, the difference with Osimhen really is his speed. Tony's good. He's not lightning quick. He's quick, but he's not lightning quick. Osimhen, he could stretch defenses big time. So one, you could slide him up the side of a centre half and he'll outrun him. Tony's more of a target man, stroke, strong runner, and hold up man. But you play to Tony's strengths. I think he's as difficult to handle as you can get in the Premier League if you play to his strengths. I think his all-round game is very, very good. Osimhen's all-round game is good, but the added incentive, which is why Osimhen obviously has that premium, is because on the halfway line, you could just knock a ball over the top and he would skin you. So that's the difference.
All right. Super Kev. This one from Guna Rose. Can the Timber twins work at Arsenal?
I think they could, for sure.
Something very quick.
I really do believe that they could work. By the way, Timber's brother he's a dog in that midfield, by the way. He's somebody who could really get around the pitch, put tackles in, and make life difficult. So, again, player like him could be a perfect squad player for us. And make it younger. That's the other thing. Make it younger, but still keep experience, but make it younger.
All right. I also just realized that I had my camera on the side of my hand, which is why I've been annoying the heck out of you guys.
How many pictures have you taken of me? So,
it's just such a. I tell you, I'm not going to lie. It's been a day. All right, you guys. We share on this show. It has been a day, and I've got my. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We're here now. Can you see Reiss Nelson getting more minutes? The limited time he's had on the pitch has been quite impressive.
I think Reiss will get his time in the Carabao Cup. I think he will start in the Carabao Cup. We saw him start against Brentford. I think the Carabao Cup, and there'll be times where he's on the bench. The key is, it depends where we are as a team and what the result is. So if we have to go gung-ho, then there might be an opportunity to, it might be Martinelli coming off or Saka and Reiss Nelson goes on. We've seen that happen. The key is where we are, but we haven't really been in a really tough spot in many games this season. Coming at Lens away as well. So that goes to show the manager will use him if we are in a spot.
All right. Question for Super Kev from Ray Anderson. Do we have to change our style and tactics if we get Toney?
Not necessarily style, but what you have to do, you have to play to his strengths. Because at the end of the day, if you got Ivan Toney playing feet around the box all the time, it's not what he wants. He wants the ball delivered into the box so we could go and attack it. He'll get between them sticks. And you know, some of the times we see balls flashing across the face of the box. No, that's where Ivan Toney, 6-yard box, he'll be there tapping them in. That's the difference. I think Jesus, because of how good Jesus is, he operates outside the box. He'll go wide. He'll go all over the place. Sometimes you just need somebody in between the two centre halves in the middle of the box, because with all the intricate stuff, when the ball gets whipped in, you'll just head it or tap it in. Simple as that.
This one from Demsek, I'm going to ask it anyway, just because it's fun. What's gone wrong with Onana? Maybe he's just not good enough. Or is he, Kev?
Listen, he's good enough. He is good enough, but he's having a bad run of form.
He's got a terrible defence in front of him, let's be honest.
It happens. It happens. He's lost form. Normally, that back four should be protecting him a lot more. But if I'm honest with you, Soph, soon as they get to him, he's been making mistakes. So
he has, and fundamental, simple ones that he shouldn't be making, Kev.
Exactly. So his form isn't great. So if you, it's the recipe for disaster, Soph. If your back four ain't playing well and your goalkeeper's chucking them in, you got no chance.
You got no chance. But, and again, this is not something that makes Kev or I upset in any way. From Warren, if we actually get a striker like Toney in January, do you guys believe we can win the league or even the Champions League, or will mentality not be there as shown in recent seasons? Good question.
No, you can't say about the mentality. The thing is, with the Champions League, it's all new to us again. So I particularly remember before Lons, people were just dismissing Lons like they were nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Look what happens when you dismiss teams. You think they're nothing, all of a sudden, you goal up. And yeah, we could have come back and we could have probably won the game if we'd taken our chances. But that just goes to show you, that's the biggest lesson for this Arsenal team. You switch off, you go cold, you don't stick to your principles, you don't run hard. The opposition could hurt you. They're good teams. So mentality, could we win the league with Toney? Yeah, of course we could. I think we could. That's one of the areas this season where we haven't been great is at the striking department. So we had that. We're a force.
Kev, you're getting lots of questions about Emil Smith-Rowe, and let me try and pick one that kind of encapsulates it all together. Let's pick this one from Arsenal Adventure. We still talk a lot about dynamism. Do you think Emil Smith-Rowe's ball-carrying aspect of our midfield, maybe Arteta tries to play Emil Smith, Rice, Partey in the midfield? I can't see that.
What about Odegaard?
Yeah.
Where's Odegaard play then? Arsenal Adventure.
Yeah.
I think Emil Smith-Rowe will play in the Carabao Cup. He's had a chance to impress. He's done all right. But he had a couple of chances and he didn't take them. That would have put extra pressure on the manager. If he'd have scored against Brentford and he came on against Bournemouth and he had a really good chance, if he'd have scored that, all of a sudden the manager is in the manager's mind. When you don't take your chances as a substitute, the manager, you've done all right, but you haven't taken your chance.
And we've seen what Mikel does when things like that happen. By the way, Mark, this might be the comment of the night. Bruised Onana. That is very, very funny. From Udi Echo here, do you think players like Waters, Sousa, Waneri should get minutes so they aren't cold if needed, like Holding last season? Kev, could you see any of these young players getting time in the Carabao Cup or?
Carabao Cup, maybe. It all depends. But I don't see a lot. I can't see a lot. Maybe Waneri, maybe Waters might. But I don't see too much because our squad's pretty big. there's players in the first team squad who need minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
for sure.
So I don't, and we have to, if we're serious, and this is the thing about
As long
Arsenal
as it's not
fans.
Fabio Vieira.
No,
Sorry, go on.
no, this is the thing about Arsenal fans. Do we want to win these trophies? If we want to win these trophies, we've got to be able to mix that squad so it's still very strong. Because you still got to win these games.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
You saw the bench at Brentford. The bench was very strong. So, you know, that's what we've got to do.
I mean, when we bring Thomas Partey off the bench, you know our team's improved. Let's be honest, kids. I mean, that's incredible.
Partey, Havertz, Tomiyasu, and Martinelli.
Crazy.
4 come off the bench.
Here's one for you from Black Falcon, Kev. How do players regain confidence in themselves?
Training and playing. Training and playing. You've got to keep doing the right things. Football's about repetition. You have to keep doing the right thing. And you've got to work at it in training all the time. You really do. Sometimes, Soph, there's no easy way. Sometimes you have to go through the grind of missing, and then it just clicks back into place.
I mean, confidence, even in life, when you lose confidence, you need something that's going to spark you to get that back, in addition to just having a talent or being good at something. You know, it's a really hard thing to regain when you lose
because
it.
Nobody wants to lose confidence. Nobody does. Nobody wants to play poorly. Let me tell you, as a footballer, you always want to win and you always want to play well.
Because Kev, when you lose confidence, that it can be a tricky road to then losing self-esteem, which then just spirals into like a whole other plethora of issues and problems. Kev, there's a question here. Would you sell Emil Smith-Rowe in January? If Newcastle came knocking and said, here's 40 million, 50 million, would you sell him?
If we listen, the question is this, Soph. Here's the question. For us to get Toney and Neto, would we sell ESR?
Yes, is the answer.
I would have to. And that's the key. I would have to, because I know it all, you know, the feeling and stuff. But we want to win now. We want to win now. So
it's definitely a tough one, in the sense that he's a Hale End boy, and you know, we not everyone's going to be Saka. Not everyone is going to have, you know, I mean, Reece Nelson, I think is one of those utility players that's going to come in handy and pull a Bournemouth during the season, Kev. But it's a tough one, because when you remember what he did in that North London derby with, you know, Saka, the two of them carrying us for a little bit, but he just doesn't seem like the same player since he's had the surgery. I know he's been given opportunities to come back, but at the same time, Kev, would you loan him?
He's not going to go on loan again.
No, he's not.
No. The thing is, Soph, and probably rightly so, he's an established first team player. And we've got to, sometimes we have to cut the cord, and we've got to be ruthless, in a sense that if I'm going to get this player in and that player in, especially in January, we've got to be able to move and shake a little bit different. And we might have to get somebody out in order to bring somebody in. We might have to.
Yeah, honestly, I would sell Fabio Vieira before I sold Emil Smith-Rowe. I just don't get it. Don't at me, everyone. Everyone gets super excited when this dude starts, you know, he comes on as a sub. He's a super sub. Kev and I said this. Why does he have to start? Not every player is ready to be that role, but can come on for 20 minutes and do something wonderful and change a game. I don't know. I don't see.
He's done all right. Listen, He hasn't been fantastic, but he's done all right, Soph. But the problem is, Sophie, the Vieira of last season to the Vieira of this season, Vieira's improving. ESR, my point is, Soph, Vieira has come on and made a difference in certain games.
2 games.
ESR hasn't. This is the difference.
ESR and Saka saved us for nearly 2 seasons.
Doesn't matter. What have you done for me lately? Sorry. What you've done 2 years ago, Soph, ain't going to help you this season. ESR needs to do it this season. Because the levels all of a sudden have changed. We're bringing in the likes of Declan Rice. We're bringing in the likes of Havertz, whether people like him or not. We're bringing in the likes of Timber. All of a sudden, them levels have gone up again. I want ESR to score, to put himself in the frame. Because I love him. I think he's a wonderful player. But if he's not doing it, Soph, this game is so ruthless. It really is.
Kev, what was the game he came on? Was it in the Carabao Cup he came on and he missed a couple chances? Which game was it?
No, he started, didn't he? He started in the Carabao Cup.
He came on as a sub in a game and missed a couple.
Bournemouth.
And
this is my point, so perfect opportunity for ESR to get himself on the score sheet. And they sing the song, Saka and Emil Smith Rowe, and the manager sees him. Rah, there you go. He's back. But when you don't, unfortunately, when you don't take it, you kind of stand still a little bit.
Yeah.
I love ESR. I really want him to do well because Eros. The problem is you're not going to get a lot of chances. ESR is not going to get a lot of chances.
Yeah, and Troy, I don't think it's fair on Eddie. Eddie saved us when Jesus went down. I know towards the end of him covering for Jesus when he went out injured last season, he wasn't as hot. But there was a period in that covering for Jesus where Eddie was scoring goals and he stepped up.
He stepped up earlier on this season when Jesus was injured. We've said it before, Soph. Is Eddie the long-term answer?
No.
I don't think so. I would love to be proven wrong, but I don't think so. But that's why we're discussing the likes of Ivan Toney, aren't we? Because if he starts or Jesus starts or they play together or 1 and 2 and 3, we've got flexibility. I don't think Man City were that bothered that Eddie started.
No.
But if it was Ivan Toney, they would have been bothered about Ivan Toney.
But still, I don't know if it was I don't think Eddie had a great game, but still.
I think he worked his socks off.
He worked hard. That's it. He's a worker. He's a blue-collar player.
And Soph, great. But the question was, what would the Manchester City defence think about? Would they be worried about Eddie or would they be worried about Ivan Toney? They'd be worried about Ivan Toney. So if he's the player who's starting for us, that's the player I want. I want the player that they worry about.
Absolutely. 100%. Quaking in their boots. I'm not allowed to read this out loud. What do you think, Kev?
Well, he's the number one choice at the moment. So
there you go.
Is he the long-term answer? Who knows? He's the number one now. Who knows what's going to happen?
You're getting a lot of Eddie misses chances, Kev. You're getting a lot of that.
Well, you tell me a striker who doesn't.
Jesus. I mean, if we're being fair, should we be fair?
No, I said, tell me a striker who doesn't.
No, I know, but I'm also saying, like, Jesus misses chances. He missed a couple of chances against Messi.
But that's what I'm saying. Tell me a striker who doesn't miss chances.
Haaland.
He misses chances. Every striker misses chances.
Kev, before we leave, we got 500 in live chat, 500 of you in live chat. Some really good questions. We did mention this earlier about the character test. Kev thinks that Arteta could put anyone straight. Let's see this one real quick from Troy. Super Kev said he should score to keep his place. So if strikers don't have to score, why does Emil Smith-Rowe, like Eddie, Yeah,
No,
you're getting that a lot.
Troy, you're not listening to what I say. So I'm going to repeat. Emil Smith-Rowe coming off the bench, he has to make an impression on Mikel Arteta. So when he gets his chance, he has to take it. So he's played pretty well against Brentford and he's come on and he's done pretty well against Bournemouth. But to really make that performance sing, he had chances and he didn't take one. That's what will keep him in the mind of the manager. We will know what he can do, but remember, he's down the pecking order. So if you're down the pecking order, show me what you got. And if you're getting opportunities in this Arsenal side and you're not taking them.
Kev, this question, your last one here. Who's better, Havertz or ESR?
Who's better?
Yeah.
Well, Havertz is at the moment because he's playing.
I think in his heyday, in his pomp, Havertz is a better player. But Emil Smith-Rowe, in his pomp, before he came back from this surgery injury, and yeah, Mark, they are different players.
No, but we know that's a reaching question. But yeah, we want Smith-Rowe to be at that level. Of course we do. That's why he's got to take his chance.
Yeah.
Tough school. It's Gooners, let me tell you something, squaddies. It's a tough school now. Now we're not just searching for a top 4 place. Now we're talking about winning trophies and being in Champions League, etc. The levels have gone up. And no matter what anybody says, no matter what they say, Kai Havertz has done it in the Champions League. Nobody could take that away from him.
He's won the game.
Not only has he played in all the way through, he's won the trophy. Beating Manchester City. And this is twice he's played Man City so far and he's not lost.
That's kind of crazy, isn't it?
Declan Rice, the same. Twice they've played and he's not lost. So that mentality, I want to be able to be flexible with our team, load it with international players on the bench and ESR comes on. Yeah, ESR is more dynamic than Havertz. But
yeah,
if you don't show it.
Yeah, his competition's fierce as well, Kev. Look at these players.
It's tough, man. It's tough.
Yeah.
It's tough.
I tell you what else was tough over the weekend, Super Kev, but with in the 92nd and 96th minute. How about this match? Eh?
Brilliant. Absolutely. Do you know what? They done everything while it was 0-0 and then they went a goal down, but they kept playing. They kept asking the questions, Soph. Great to see Beth Mead come on, by the way.
Wasn't it?
Great to see Beth Mead come on.
And Russo to get her foot. What a time.
But Katie McCabe.
Wow.
Goal.
What a baller.
What a strike when the Arsenal ladies needed it most. Bang. She brought them back square. But that weren't enough. That weren't enough. Arsenal needed that win.
Oh, my hair's gone up just thinking about it, Kev. It was
and Russo, snapshot, caught the keeper a little bit unawares to win the game 2-1. What a fantastic, what was it, 35,000 at the Emirates?
At the Emirates, yeah.
Absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
Fantastic result.
Kev, Tammy's right. She just doesn't score normal goals. She doesn't.
She don't. It was a bullet, Lone Star. Whoa.
Yeah, it was. And it was a great reception for Beth. And a shout out to Palova, who I thought had a great game. Thank you, Matthew. Yes, Demian was there, Kev. He got to see the first women's game at the Emirates, and what a match he got to experience as well. Boy, did we need that, because it's not been a great start to the season in the league. Keeps them, and luckily, you know, it's not been a great start for some other teams as well. So I think in the WSL this year,
they jump. It's going to be tight, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
It's going to come down to how you go against the big teams.
Yeah, Chelsea, Kev, and Man City look really back to their best this season. So yeah, it was a great match, and it was great to see us have another one of those Bournemouth Man United moments for the Arsenal women's team as well, against an Aston Villa team, Kev, that is a lot better than the way they've started the season.
They've improved, definitely.
Yeah, yeah. So, all right, that's it. That's all we got time for today on Monday Madness. What is the score in the Greece-Netherlands game? Please, someone tell me. I'm dying here. I'm absolutely dying. I want to know what the score is before I let you go. Jimmy Mack, you're asking if there are more shows this week. Stay tuned.
Nil, Soph.
Okay, good. All right, nil's good. I hear Weghorst missed a penalty, Kev.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, there will be another episode of Opinionated coming out. And stay tuned for the YouTube comment show that hopefully will happen this week. Keep tabs on the community page on YouTube. And if you're on Twitter, X. Every time I say X, Kev, I feel like I'm telling people to go watch porn. I mean, it's
no, it's a kiss. It's a kiss. X.
Kev, do you remember in the cinema back in the day where you'd walk past it and it would have XXX?
XXX, yeah, of course.
Wow. Yeah. Down at Turnpike Lane, they used to do that. The old cinema down at Turnpike Lane. Not that I go, people. I just saying when I used to drive past as a child. Anyway, just stop right there. Just stop.
Yeah, don't even bother.
Super Kev, what do you want the crew to know? What do you want the
Nothing.
Squaddies?
Let's get off and watch the Greece game.
All right,
listen,
lovely.
Squaddies, let me tell you, we do love you. Let love be your currency. Tell everybody you love that you love them. And thanks for joining us tonight. We've got Greece and Netherlands to watch. So, do you know what? At ease, Squaddies. At ease. See you later.
Fuck.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Where's the end button? There it is. Bloody phone.